And welcome to the show, guys. Thanks for coming. Got another great presentation today by the beautiful ×2 Betty Van Velsen. How's it going out there, Betty?
×2?
Yeah, because I missed the one the other day.
Okay. Yeah, it's a great day. Great day to be alive, right?
We could talk about that later.
Yeah, division, huh? Division. That's the deal right now in this world now, I think.
Yep.
I wanted to talk about that a little today. So how have you been doing?
In division?
You are in division, huh?
Yes.
Yeah, well, maybe the teaching today will help you out a little. Maybe not. You never know. As far as you know.
As far as I know, not up to... Where are you?
So you guys are still on the other timetable now, huh? Still, till when?
Yeah, until... Is it Saturday? Until late Saturday night or early Sunday morning. We usually turn them back Saturday night, you know, right before you go to bed.
Yeah, that you don't get into a big surprise in the morning or forget to do anything. Huh?
It happens every year. We forgot names.
Yeah, well, one time of the year I like it, the other time I don't.
Well, this
I'd
one
rather have an hour extra than an hour too short.
Yeah, we'll get a little extra sleep.
Yeah, or an extra hour in the day, as you get up early.
I don't play that.
Okay. You're a sleeper, huh?
No, I'm a late going to bedder.
Yeah, and not an early riser.
Yeah, no. So it all you know comes out in the end. You know, if you got somebody going to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock and then getting up, you know, for the chickens, and then you have me going to bed at 1 or 2 o'clock and waking up at 8 or 9, then it's pretty much even. Not one's lazier than the other.
I know, because I'm the same way. To be honest, I'm a night owl myself. I can really stay up late and have no problems at all, but don't come in the morning early. Sometimes I'm a little jealous of the people that can rise early. Like Neil, I think that Neil said it the other day that he was up at 4 in the morning, or his eyes would open at 4 in the morning. It's a little too early, but I would say 6, 7-ish would be nice, because you get a lot of things done in the morning.
Yeah, you do. That's one thing. You are correct. You get a lot more done, it seems, but then you get tired later. I don't like that. I'd like to get not much done and be awake later.
Well, I like the hours between, say 11 till 2 o'clock in the night, because it seems that the world has come to rest somehow, and I'm able to think.
Yes.
It's strange. You can't do anything, but and you are sort of legitimate. It's legitimate that you can't do anything, right? At that time, it's like, you know, that you can't pick up the vacuum cleaner and start cleaning your house in the middle of the night. But there is some other sort of magic sort of place where you just can think. It's like everybody's mind is at rest and yours is still working. Can't explain it right. You have that same thing going on? Or?
No, completely the opposite. And I can vacuum my house any time of the night if I want.
Yeah. Well, I live in a flat or an apartment, and I think you can walk around your house. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, in Holland, there's not many places where you can walk around your own house. I can walk around the block, but not around my own house. I have to consider the neighbors.
This discussion is about as riveting as the one I was in earlier on Nathan's show with, what the heck? I can't remember what we were even talking about. Just numpty stuff.
Oh, well, was there a numpty there?
I think it was something with Russian vids and dearth. I don't know. They were talking that.
Oh yeah, I saw the announcement. Yeah.
What announcement?
I saw an announcement that they had a live stream, and that would be somewhere in the middle of the night for me. Then that is, and I thought, these two together, and then went to sleep.
Okay, get the principles. Announcement from who and who's going to be together? What are you talking about?
The YouTube announcement. So a notification by YouTube where they would have a live show.
Who are they?
The night. Well, Dearth and the other guy that you mentioned. What's his name?
Russian vids.
Russian vids. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I don't even know what's happening. I came in on the conversation halfway. I guess I'm not keeping up to date with little spats.
Well, I didn't listen to it, so I don't know what the topics were about.
Gotcha.
I've seen Russian vids having a conversation with what's the guy's name again? He's been banned for a couple of channels. He's been banned from YouTube. I think he has a website now that you have to go to. Oh my goodness, I forget.
Let's see if anyone in chat knows what the heck we're talking about, because we sure don't.
Well, it's a guy that is, what's his name now? Richie from Boston. That's it. Richie from Boston.
Richie from Boston. Who the heck is that?
Yeah. Well, he's a guy also on the internet speaking his sort of findings on things, having conversations with people about.
All right. Well, that's riveting.
That you can imagine in these times.
This is riveting. I'm losing viewers as we speak. I know what'll get them back. Alec Baldwin. There, I got one back.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that was the other conversation with Alec Baldwin. It must have been a slow day. I told him that they need to find a girl, mate.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's a little boring, but we can move on from that.
They're hard to find nowadays, to be honest.
Yeah, they sure are. Oh, viewers are going up looking for girls. Yeah, I figured I'd get the viewers up. Oh, lost one.
Jesus, John.
Come on. Come on, start getting the viewers up so we can start the presentation. There goes another one.
Well, that's a good time to start then, maybe, because
okay,
we might end up at 0.
Yeah, let's start out. Let's see. 1 second, I'll tell you when you're when I'll be ready. I gotta find you.
Okay. I hope that you already know where I am. Do I have to put the presentation up already?
Go ahead and do your little magic. I got to do a little magic trick to get that presentation up. So go ahead and bring it up.
Yeah, here it is.
No magic yet.
I'm still screen sharing?
Nope.
Let me see. What's happening?
Yeah,
Just do that?
It's been squirrely for the past few times that we've done this. Yeah, okay, I think I got something. Hold up.
Oh, wait a minute, because...
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, now I can see me in there. Okay, that's starting to look good. Okay, tell me when you're ready.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems to be now up.
Yep, and it's on screen. You're ready to go. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, so my today presentation is about division in the Bible. We see a lot of that, I think, from the beginning. So let's dive right into this. And I want to start always with the disclaimer. It's going to be not a really in-depth sort of presentation. I just want to bring up some tidbits about what I find to be the divisions happening. So I always will put the disclaimer here. so that people know that I'm just presenting, not teaching. And I want to be pretty open about things that I've learned about the Bible, and if it helps out people, well, that's okay. And if people want to add on, they can put it in the chat or even underneath the video. So where do we see the divisions in the Bible? Now we see a lot of separations within the families, and I wanted to know what's to be learned from that. Every family has their division at the moment, and what happened back in the day. So I made a sort of a list that I wanted to go over, and well, it starts with Cain and Abel, that had a sort of a fight. Noah in the world, Ham and Shem, Terah and Abraham, Abraham and Lot, Ishmael and Isaac, Esau and Jacob, and then the brethren of the tribes of Israel and Joseph. Let's start with Cain and Abel. And then I sort of give it away on the here up above, and I do that with every presentation from now. Let's go into the scripture about what happened to Adam's sons. And Adam knew Eve, his wife, and she conceived and bare Cain, and said, I've gotten a man from the Lord. And she bare and she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto the Lord, and Abel also brought of the firstlings of his flock, and of the fat thereof. And the Lord had respect unto Abel and to his offering, but unto Cain and unto his offering he had no respect. And Cain was very wroth, and his countenance fell. And the Lord said unto Cain, Why art thou wroth? And why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door. And unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. So here we see the first sort of sin coming about, because Cain was very wroth that he didn't bring the correct offering. And I wondered back in the day when I was first reading this, and I thought, well, why would you bring an offering like a goat or a sheep to the altar, right? It's sort of like cruel, and I think that most of the world would think that way. But in the beginning, Adam and Eve were clothed by God with animal skins. They were naked because they were sinful, and they were clothed by a animal skin. And that was the best offering, right? To just cover your sins, basically. So bringing the firstling of his flock that Abel did was the best offer in that sense, because he knew that there had to be spilling of blood, basically, or some sacrifice of blood for the sins that they had committed, or might be unwillingly or unknowingly committed. And to give back the fruit of the ground that already was given by God, basically, because that is something that grows out of its own. How do you say that? It grows, not with much of Cain's effort. Yeah, he had to till the ground. Of course, that was hard labor, but the growing of that was yeah. So I think that the offer that Abel brought was the best offer now. But I had to think this over in my mind, and we can now later on see that Cain is like wroth with his brother. And then in Hebrews it says, by faith, Abel offered unto the Lord a more excellent sacrifice than Cain, and by which he obtained witness that he was righteous, and God testifying of his gifts, and by it he being dead yet speaketh. So you can see that the better sacrifice was made unto God by Abel. And in Luke it says, from the blood of Abel unto the blood of Zacharias, which perisheth between the altar and the temple, verily I, Jesus, say unto you, it shall be required of this generation. So sin leads to death, and when death came into the world, it was basically the fall of man. So the murder of his brother Abel, Cain murdering his brother Abel, is sort of a testimony of that death came into the world, and that then a new era began. Now we go to Noah versus the world. And in Noah, in Genesis 6, we read, and it repented the Lord that he had made man on the earth, and it grieved him at his heart. And the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, and the creeping thing, and the fowls of the air, for it repenteth me that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord, and the earth was also corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So here it says, Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. And then in 2 Peter 2, verse 5, it says, and spared not the world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. And I like this picture where all these animals are entering the ark. So basically, when the flood was after the flood, or during the flood, when Noah and his family was being saved, it was an act of grace by God to do this. So you're going to see another separation from a whole family, basically, and Noah being the only one moving on, being blessed. Then we go from Ham and Shem, and in Genesis 9, it says, and Noah awoke from his wine, and knew that his younger son had done unto him, what his younger son had done unto him. And he said, cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants shall he be unto his brethren. And he said, blessed be the Lord, God of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. God shall enlarge Japheth, and he shall dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan shall be his servant. So we again see a sort of separation going, where the one is blessed and another is cursed. And they go their separate ways. And then later on meet each other in not so pleasant future happenings. So Shem is blessed and Canaan is cursed by Noah. And in Genesis 9, verse 19, these are the sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. So they basically went over all the places of the earth. They were separated. They went their own way and got their own sort of land that they inhabited. But what happened with Ham? He didn't honor his father. So this led to a curse. Ham saw the nakedness of his father, And I'm not totally sure what that meant, what took place. But it resulted in a curse on Ham's offspring, the Canaanites. So John, have you any idea what happened with Ham and his father?
Yeah, I did back in the day. I'm a little bit soft on it right now, but I don't think that it was a good thing that he saw him naked, for one thing.
Yeah, there's been sort of rumors that he might have been with the wife of Noah, right? It's also because the man needs to cover his wife, right? It's also a sort of a nakedness in a sense. So some people think that's what happened, and that Canaan may be a son of the wife of Noah, for example, and that's why there's a curse there. It is not in the Bible, so we can't really assume that, right?
Yeah, I usually stop if it's not written there. I'll usually, now I may have some things I may think about, but I usually keep it to myself. I won't say anything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, yeah, I don't know exactly what took place, but we also know that Noah was drinking some wine, and some drunkenness could be taking place, which also could be the case, and you can't disgrace your own father. So you have to honor your father and your mother, even though you see maybe something that might not be all that good. So now we go to another father-son division. And then we go to Terah, which is the father of Abraham. And in Genesis 11, verse 31, we see, and Terah took Abraham his son, and Lot the son of Haran his son's son, and Sarai his daughter-in-law, his son Abraham's wife, and they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into a land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So his father Abraham and the father of Abraham, Terah, he brought them out of Ur, which was a old city and that was already there just after the flood, I think. And these later on, I think, they either built were building that city in Shinar with the Tower of Babel.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was not a good place. So at least his father took him out. But then Abraham was sort of asked to go on by God, so get thee out of thy country, it says here. But Terah stayed. So in Genesis 12, we read, and now the Lord had said unto Abraham, get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will shew thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse him that curses thee. And in thee shall all the families of the earth be blessed. So he obeyed God. Yeah? Abraham obeyed God and said, well, okay, I'm going. And why did God want to have him out of his father's house? Now that's not really in the Bible, but in the book of Jasher, we can read that in chapter 9, verse 5 to 7. And when Abram came out of the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem. And he remained with them to learn the instruction of the Lord and his ways. And no man knew where Abraham was. And Abraham served Noah and Shem, his son, for a long time. And Abram was in Noah's house 39 years. And Abram knew the Lord from 3 years old. And he went in the ways of the Lord until the day of his death. And Noah and his son Shem had taught him. And all the sons of the earth in those days greatly transgressed against the Lord. And they rebelled against him, and they served other gods. And they forgot the Lord who had created them in the earth. And the inhabitants of the earth made unto themselves at the time every man his god, gods of wood and stone, which could neither speak, hear, nor deliver. And the sons of men served them, and they became their gods. And the king and all his servants, and Terah with all his household, were then the first of those that served gods of wood and stone. So we can see that Terah, his father, went after idols. Did you know this passage, John?
I did not.
What do you think of it if you read this?
It lines up. Not saying that it's true or not true, but the concept behind it for the divisions, I'm starting to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to line up.
And yeah, it's very interesting to read the previous chapter of Jasher. It's sort of the same sort of storyline where Jesus is also kept away, kept safe for a while, because in Abraham was also sort of prophesied over by some magi to the king back then, that he would be great, and they wanted to kill him. So that king said to Terah, "Bring your son over here, because I want to buy him off of you and kill him, because he's going to be a great man, and we don't want that." And then Terah saved his own son by giving another child of a bondswoman, a slave woman, and basically Abraham was sort of kept safe in a cave. That's why it says here that he came out of the cave. Very, very interesting to read that, because it seems that all throughout the storylines and the storylines outside the Bible, it gives us the same sort of story to tell, that people sort of were destined to be great, and then they get into trouble in the beginning, only to come out stronger later. So here we have it, no other gods, no idols. Abram's father went after other gods. He made graven images and worshipped them. So Abraham left his country and his father in faith. Right? He believed in God. Yeah, he worshipped the only invisible God, not the gods made out of wood and stone and iron. And we got Abraham versus Lot. So in the next division we see is with Abraham and Lot. You would think that would not be such a big thing, but it is still, there is still something to be learned, because even though Lot and Abraham remained sort of relatives and in good sort of conduct towards each other, because Abraham even saved Lot from being taken captive, still there's a division there that we sort of have to take notice of. So I will read this in Genesis 13. And Lot also, which went with Abraham, had flocks and herds and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, and they might dwell together. For their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. And Abraham said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, and between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. And then in Genesis 13, verse 10 to 12, it says, And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, and even as the garden of the Lord, like the land of Egypt, as thou comest to Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent towards Sodom. And the Lord said unto Abraham, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward, and southward, and westward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which thou seest, to thee I will give it, and to thy seed forever. So what we see is that Lot chooses the best sort of place to be, and he pitched his tent towards Sodom. So he made a sort of a stationary place. He became a citizen of Sodom eventually. We can see that later in the scriptures. And he had to sort of comply with the city's rules. And I find it interesting to see that then later on Abraham, after Lot has departed, he gets to see, but the Lord sort of points his eyes towards all the place around him. It's everything would be his. He had never had a sort of a stationary place that he rested at. He was always on the move. And still God said, well, I give you this place. But he was a sojourner, right? He was just traveling through, while Lot dwelt in one place. And we find some extra information about the places that Lot chose to stay, and we find them in Jasher. And the 4 men of the family of Ham went to the land of the plain. These are the names of the 4 men: Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, and Zeboim. So basically the family that we know that were sort of cursed, that was the place that Lot chose to stay. He chose to stay at cities that were sort of founded by the cursed family. Couldn't be good, right? Did you know this, by the way, John?
No, I did not.
I read that in Jasher, and I thought, it sort of makes sense, like that it sort of digresses, to be in a bad situation. And I've seen some pictures, and this is one of them, where they say that this might have been Sodom or Gomorrah, where you can see these sort of structures, and they find pure sulfur here, even purer than they can make. These little sort of bullet-like rocks, and you can put the fire to it, and it burns. It still burns. And it can melt away stones. Have you seen these?
Yeah. I ran into them back in the day. I was doing a little study on Sodom and Gomorrah. Yep. I can't recall the specifics.
It's very impressive, I think. If these really were the buildings, they must have been really fortified and high, and maybe pretty rich countryside, I think.
Yeah, it was, and one of those I ran into was one of the gentlemen that we spoke about, and I can't recall his name right now. You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, Ron Wyatt, I think.
Yeah, that's it, Ron Wyatt. Yep, I think he was the first one I ran into.
Yeah, he did some expeditions to this place and other places too. He also dove into the Red Sea, where he found these wheels of carts of the wagons that the Egyptians would.
Yeah. He was definitely like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, the real one. But
yeah, the real one. Yep.
He wasn't. He had to work every time. He had to go back to America, work. I think he was sort of a nurse or something. And he had to work and get enough money to get back on these expeditions, and pay his way through, basically. And he discovered a great deal of all these places. I think that he also they claim that he found the ark, and I believe that, because the way that he said it and brought it about. And I've seen him also working. Carving through the rock face there in Jerusalem, and I'm certain that he found what he found there. But he also found, I think, the storage where the grain would have been in Egypt. Did you know that too?
I'm
Because you had
sorry.
Joseph.
Sorry, I was
Yeah,
on mute. I don't think I knew that one.
Okay, yeah, he found these large sort of silo sort of structures, like squares in the ground, huge, and that they would all be sort of combined by shafts, and that if you would take away some grain, then it would just fill back up by the other silos, basically. Right?
Silos that they were connected to. I got you. Yeah. All right. Yeah. I don't think I ran into that one, like I said, but the other ones I did run into.
Yeah, I think that's a less sort of known thing about Ron White, that he said something. He also said something about the building of the pyramids, which I didn't. It didn't convince me. What he said about that, but I saw that what he did with the silos for the grain and stuff, and they found grains, little grains, still underneath on the floor, and there was only one way that you could go there to take grain. There was only one way in, one way out, and it was really very interesting what they found. Yeah. But do you get the sort of thing that I sort of say here with the sojourner versus citizen?
Yeah.
I mean, the message is basically that if you are sort of a child of God or in God's office, then you don't have a place that is like stuck, right? You need to move where God says to move to, and still everything will be yours, right? And that if you have to comply, then it gets dark. So Lot chose the rich places to stay, and it almost cost him his life. His daughter's offspring became the nations of Moab and the Ammonites. So Lot's wife and some of his household died. His 2 daughters committed a sin, and they made a bad choice having intercourse with their fathers. They thought that they couldn't get married to another man. There would be no man that would marry them, because they grew up in a place that was basically all men that would go after men, right? They have the story that the angels came to Lot to save them, and then these inhabitants of that place would want to have sex with the guys, and so I think these daughters sort of thought that was more normal, like. They were sort of desperate. They wanted to bring the father a sort of a sort of offspring, a sort of seed to move on. But they made a bad mistake. So the lesson that you could maybe get from this is, even though that you might be able to hold on to your beliefs, your faith with God, that if you stay in a certain place, or and I don't mean that everybody should move around, but if you have to bring up your family in a way that they have to take themselves off of the world, not to be involved with the world. Is that, am I making myself clear with this, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah. Because now we got some more enemies, right? Moab and the Moabites and the Ammonites. So here we go to Ishmael and Isaac. So in Genesis 21, verse 10. Oh, not verse 10. I see that I made a mistake here. Verse 8 till 10. And the child grew and was weaned, and Abraham made a great feast the same day that Isaac was weaned. And Sarah saw the son of Hagar, the Egyptian, and she had born unto Abraham mocking. Which she had born unto Abraham mocking. Wherefore she said unto Abraham, Cast out this bondwoman and her son, for the son of this bondwoman shall not be heir with my son, even with Isaac. So we see that Ishmael was mocking Isaac. I don't know what he said. I don't know what he did exactly, but something happened there which made Sarah say, hey, go away. And in Galatians 4, it says, now we brethren, as Isaac was, are the children of the promise. But as then he that was born after the flesh persecuted him that was born after the Spirit, even so it is now. Nevertheless, what saith the Scripture? Cast out the bondwoman and her son, for the son of the bondwoman shall not be heir with the son of the free woman. So then, brethren, we are not children of the bondwoman, but of the free. And we know that she was an Egyptian. An Egyptian is basically, it stands for the world. And that's why I'm saying here, I'm not of this world. Right? You need to not be of this world. It's sort of like follows on what Lot has done. He stayed in a city that was corrupt, just for the wealth of the place, and he could have gotten out of there, but he didn't. And then he says here, when you are a slave, you are indebted to the world. A slave to sin will not make you an heir. You can even say it in a way that you can be slave to like alcohol or drugs or anything else that can be slave, food, right? That also is sin to the Lord and makes you not be an heir. So what does this essential meaning of slave mean? It's someone who is legally owned by another person and who is forced to work for that person without pay. But there's also a person who is strongly influenced and controlled by something. So I think that we have to go with the second sort of explanation. So we go to Esau and Jacob. Also two brethren. The other one were sort of half brothers. These are real brothers, twins even. And it says here, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren. And the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, if it be so, why am I thus? And she went in to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. And the first came out red, all over like a hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. So later on, we know that Esau was on a hunt and he came back faint. I think that he killed Nimrod. Did you know? Was it Nimrod?
I don't think so.
He killed a man before this. Maybe it's in the outside scriptures, or not in the Bible, but he came back faint, and we will read it here. And Jacob saw pottage. And Esau came from the field and was faint. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. And Jacob said, sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, behold, I am at the point to die. What profit shall this birthright be to me? And Jacob said, swear to me this day. And he sware unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils. And he did eat and drink, and rose up, and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. And we see in Romans 9, as it is written, Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated. So we have another sort of division, hated versus loved. Esau didn't respect his birthright, and it's very important. Back in the day, it was very important. If you were the first son, you would be an heir of your father, right? You would inherit all the things.
I definitely wouldn't have sold it for lentils. Maybe ribeye or pizza. Lentils, I don't think so.
How about wingies?
Wingies, definitely, yes.
Definitely. See, you have to be careful, John, because you might get it, right? So in Hebrews we read, lest there be any fornicator or profane person as Esau, who for one morsel of meat sold his birthright. For ye know how that afterwards, when he would have inherited the blessing, he was rejected. For he found no place of repentance, though he sought it carefully with tears. So this wasn't a good thing that he did. And we see it now, right? People going for the easy way out for some things, not wait on the Lord for the right thing to do, getting into trouble. And a good thing now with the current situation that people have to take something to save their lives, basically, they think, from the government. And I think it comes close to this, right? Selling your birthright.
How about the verse back to where you said that Jacob I have loved and Esau I have hated? Was there something more profound there? Was it connected with before they were born?
Well, they say so, right? Because let's go back.
I'd have to go back and search that. I'll search it. Yeah, that's what I think is happening. But I think that's stated somewhere.
There is another, but it's also in the Old Testament somewhere. One of the prophets says it, where God foreknew which one he would like, right?
Right.
That Esau was hated before he came to life.
Right. Yeah, it's in the Old Testament. I was just going to go look for it, but I forgot your presentation's up. That wouldn't have been good. So you're still good. Go.
Yeah. The thing is with this, most people would go to this and say, well, okay, see, then God is not truthful or not good because he already knew that Esau would be bad in a way, so he made him bad, right?
No,
something like that.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. If you foreknew someone, of course you could think, well, is there something as a sort of a the good people and the bad people that he called out, right? God, that he sort of already knows before we know.
Remember, this goes back to the story I told. Remember about his position, God's position? You want me to go into that for a brief second?
Yeah, do, please.
Yeah, so based on God's position, right, he doesn't cause anything. Let me give you an example. Let's say you had a person up on top of the Empire State Building, and there was a parade. And the person on top of the Empire State Building could see the assembly area and where the parade ended. All, just turning his head. But the people on the ground, they can only see what's in front of them. So that person on the Empire State Building looking towards the end of the parade sees a tuba player, right? And the tuba player's walking, and in front of the tuba player, there's a pothole, but the tuba player misses it, and he trips, and he knocks down 6 people in front of him. Well, did God or that person that was looking on top of the Empire State Building, did he cause that, or he just seen it based on his position?
Exactly. Well, that's a beautiful, representation of what you.
Well, thank you. I'd like to thank my mom for having me, all my fans.
Yeah, well, it's good because you have to think of those sort of. You have to meditate on these things to get the answers, right?
Yep.
And he could have sort of get the whole domino effect until the front of the procession, right? That you could see on top of the Empire building. And you could sort of say, well, I hated the tuba player before causing this.
Yeah.
This whole cascade of
That's a big discussion. Foreknowledge and predestined. That's another discussion we might want to wait and say for another day, because that's a topic on its own.
Yeah, Absolutely. Yeah, true.
But
But Esau, we have to, that if people start talking about these good seed and bad seed things, then I think, okay, well, how can that end up in the womb of a woman that was sort of blessed, right, to be with Jacob, or to be with Isaac, right? So the way I see it is it's a representation of God creating mankind, and there's good and there's bad, right? There's good people, bad people. That came out of a good person, right? God is a good person. He just gave people free will, and out of free will, Esau sort of gave away his birthright, right? He did it out of his own accord. Nobody forced him to, and he thought that his food was more important than his birthright. It's just that way. People make bad choices. So here we went over this. So if you despise or don't value what God has given to you, you will lose your birthright. So Esau was more interested in his next meal than with his destiny or his being an heir. I know that I screwed this sentence up, but you get the idea. It's kind of a Dutch way of saying.
No, it's okay. You got the message. I like the despise. Is that without spice or bad spice?
Despised. Yeah, it had to be with the D, right? Yeah, I don't know. Is it? How do I have to write?
Despise. If you despise, DESPIZE.
Oh, okay.
I probably screwed that up too. I'm not the best speller in the world, but.
Oh my goodness! But is it also when you put the D behind it? It has to do with the. It's with the Z, right?
Yeah, yeah. Instead of the C, it's a Z. I'm not mistaken. Despise.
Well, I tried through the Google Translator, but they don't help you out with how you read.
You're fine though. We got the message. And I despise lentils.
Maybe I thought of the spices that Esau got, right? Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
Oh, so here we go in the predestination. My goodness, the next slide.
What?
You're going into predestination, that thing we just talked about.
Okay. Is it? Yeah, well, yeah, it says it here. Well, you have to think of the inheritance, right? It apparently it's sort of attached. For me, it's sort of attached to the whole Jacob Esau thing. So we go over this with Romans 8. Moreover, whom he did predestinate, them he also called, and whom he called, he also justified, and whom he justified, them he also glorified. What shall we then say to these things? If God be for us, who can be against us? I like this very much. If God is for us, who can be against us?
Yep.
He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with... Oh my goodness, I'm going to do something bad to this text. He that spared not his own son, but delivered him up for us all, how shall he not with him also freely give us all things? Who shall lay anything to the charge of God's elect? It is God that justifieth. Who is he that condemneth? Is it Christ that died? Yeah, rather that he is risen again. That is risen again. Who is even at the right hand of God, who also maketh intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation, or distress, or persecution, or famine, or nakedness, or peril, or sword? Tribulation, right? Distress, persecution. I mean, a lot of things we have to sort of go through, right? And that's something that Esau didn't do, right? Because famine, well, he wanted his next meal, right? So it separates. In Romans 8. We go over what firstborn means, and we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, and them who are called, the called. according to his purpose. For whom he did foreknew, he also did predestinate to be conformed to the image of his Son, that he might be the firstborn among many brethren. So you see that it is connected, right? To be called and into inheritance. But we go to Joseph and his brothers. There's a division there that happened. We read in Genesis 37, these are the generations of Jacob. Joseph, being 17 years old, was feeding the flock with his brethren, and the lad was with the sons of Bilhah, and with the sons of Zilpah, his father's wives. And Joseph brought unto his father their evil report. And his brethren envied him, but his father observed the saying. And his brethren went to feed their father's flock in Shechem. And when they saw him afar off, even before he came near unto them, they conspired against him and slay him.
I think it's a little bit overboard.
Overboard to what?
Yeah, they shouldn't have.
They shouldn't have.
Conspired to kill their brother. That's.
Well, if you have a sibling, right, you have these people that seem to do everything right, and it seems effortless to them. And you have a little fun between your brothers, like making a little fire in the wrong place, or these little things that guys do, right? And then you have a little brother that runs to their father, telling them off the whole time, right? It aggravated them.
Yeah, but I'd just rub his face in the dirt. I wouldn't, shove a sword through him. But that's we can move on. Yeah, that's neither here nor there. I'm sure there's more to the story than just that.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, yeah, they envied him in a way, because he was the most loved. If you, as a father, have chosen one of your sons to be the best, right? I mean, you have to understand that Jacob loved his wife Rachel the most. He basically wanted her and her only, but he got Leah and all the others to go along with him. And then he gets a son by her, and then you would think, oh yeah, that's my favorite, right? It took a long time for her to even conceive Joseph, right? To get to get him, and then he turns out that he is a good snitch for his brother, so that he can sort of keep an eye on the other offspring that he has, right? So basically, when you sort of favor one son over the others, there's something there too,
Yeah, there's a lot of family dynamics. Noted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm glad that I didn't have to live in such a big family with all these different siblings from different mothers and whatever. It seems, like chaotic from time to time, I think. So, and Joseph saw his brethren, and he knew them, and made himself strange unto them, and spake roughly unto them. And he said unto them, Whence come ye? And they said, From the land of Canaan, to buy food. And Joseph knew his brethren, but they knew not him. So this is the passage why I say hidden and exposed. Right? He was sort of hidden in Egypt. And he speaks here that he has the lot of grain. The whole 7 years of fatness was already gone, and now the 7 years of famine would be there. And these brethren came to him, and now they needed a favor of him, right? And he sort of kept himself hidden from them. And I think this is also a very interesting scripture. I put it in here. And he put them all together into ward 3 days. I think ward means prison, I suppose. Always the 3 days, right? The 3 days. I'm going to do some presentation on the 3 days There's so much to that. So after that, I think that he sends them on their way again. And there's a whole sort of interchange, right, where he keeps, one time he keeps Simeon sort of imprisoned, and they leave him behind and go back to the father, and then the next time they have to go back because they are in need of grain. And there's a whole thing with Benjamin and a cup of Joseph that is in his sacks that Joseph put there. It was basically a test for these brothers to see if they would be different, right? Would be repent of what they did back in the day, and that they would sort of protect the little brother of Joseph, instead of selling him like he was sold.
So that you said something important right there. That are you going to do word and phrase studies, like the 3 days? You touched on that a bit. That'd be very interesting.
Yeah,
like the wells, 3 days, a number of different word or phrase games. Till, that would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, harvest is also a nice one.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just thought that would be quite interesting.
Yeah.
Make that happen next week.
I need a little bit more time because I wanted to go over some other things first. But I'll get there.
Okay.
So hidden first and exposed again. If ye be true, let one of your brethren be bound in the house of your prison. Go ye carry corn for the famine of your houses. Of your houses? Okay. But bring your youngest brother unto me, so shall your words be verified, and ye shall not die. And they did so. And they said to one another, we are verily guilty concerning our brother, in that we saw the anguish of his soul when he besought us, and we would not hear. Therefore this distress came upon us. And Reuben answered them and saying, spake I not unto you, saying, do not sin against the child? And ye would not hear. Therefore, behold, unto also his blood is required. So basically here we see that these brothers, when they came there, they were sort of convicted, right? They were sort of like, something's not good. We have done something bad to deserve this. And it's amazing. And I think it's also very interesting that Reuben, he wasn't there when they sold him off to another country, right? So they put him in a pit with scorpions and whatever, and but Reuben only said that so that he could sort of get him out of the pit later and bring him home. But when he came back, they had already sold him. So that it's interesting that Reuben wasn't part of the whole plan. So in Genesis 49, the blessing of thy father hath prevailed above the blessings of my progenitors unto the utmost bound of the everlasting hills. There shall be on the head of Joseph and on the crown of the head of him that was separate from his brethren. And in Deuteronomy it says, and for the precious things of the earth and fullness thereof, and for the good will of him that dwelt in the bush, let the blessings come upon the land on the head of Joseph, and upon the top of the head of him that was separated from his brethren. His glory is like the firstling of a bullock, and his horns are like the horns of unicorns. With them shall he push the people together to the ends of the earth, and they are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and they are the 10,000s of Manasseh. So we see a little bit that the separation, Joseph, and him getting Ephraim and Manasseh, later on the blessing comes to lie upon basically Ephraim, the second-born, but on these two sons, right? They were adopted by Jacob. So it is sometimes good to be separated or hidden from the rest by doing good, by being good and not envious. So envy will ultimately lead to death or murder. God convicts them, the brothers, and gives them a chance to repent. They conspire to kill their brother, and Joseph is separated, hidden, but blessed and made co-ruler of the land. So
it's a great story. But that Joseph is just a great. I love going back and going through it from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, there's so much in there that even if you've read it 1,000 times, it still sort of resonates somehow. Yeah. Well, Joseph is also a type of Jesus, right? Where he is basically the co-ruler of his father, right, on earth, and or later be on earth, and yeah, all the riches is for him. He's a righteous person, and then he will excel, right? He will be first be chained and cast into a prison, but later on he's made co-ruler. Yeah. Then we go on to eternal life. Sort of a conclusion. So in Matthew, you have a lot of the same scriptures. This is a sort of a passage that comes up with in 3 of the Testaments. So I will read the first one. The other ones are sort of similar. So Matthew, and behold, one came and said unto him, Good master, what good things shall I do, that I may have eternal life? And he said unto them, Why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. But if thou would enter into life, keep the commandments. And he said unto him, Which? Jesus said, Thou shalt not do murder, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, and thou shalt not bear false witness. Honor thy father and mother, and thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. And the young man said unto him, All these things I have kept from my youth up. What lack I yet? Jesus said unto him, If thou wilt be perfect, go and sell that thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven, and come and follow me. And when the young man heard that saying, he went away sorrowful, for he had great possessions. Then said Jesus unto his disciples, Verily I say unto you, that a rich man shall hardly enter into the kingdom of heaven. And I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of the needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. So Jesus states still pieces of the 10 Commandments right here. And this I sort of will stress, come and follow me, right? So we saw in the passage with Lot that he went after the riches of the country, ended up in a world where he was restricted. He couldn't even have some friends over without them sort of being in danger. When he wanted to get out, it cost him almost his family. His wife was looking back and died. And we have the same passage in Luke, right? And also with the good master, how shall I inherit the life? And it says here again, come and follow me, right? Come and follow me. So I think God or Jesus is stressing this, right? And then we got Mark, and I put the names or the representatives, right? For Mark, it's an ox. Let me go back to the previous ones. From Luke, it's man. That's the sign for Reuben. And the lion, right, from Judah, right? So we get these, and I find it interesting that this is almost the same passage, but then here it says with the ox, take up thy cross and follow me. Right? It says, take up thy cross and follow me. Not only follow me, but take up your cross. And an ox is a servant sort of to man, right? An ox sort of plows the earth. And I think that that's very significant, right? Because I think that the Testament of Mark is basically written from a servant, Jesus as servant perspective. So apparently this was important to God. So simply to take up thy cross, 2 S's, sorry, and follow me. So we go back to this cross again. Right? Pick up your cross. These are the commandments. Right? These are, you shall not have other gods before me. You shall not make idols. You shall not take my name in vain, of the Lord your God in vain. And then you got the others, right? Honor thy father and mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not bear false witness against thy neighbor. You shall not covet. And a lot of these things we have seen already happening, bringing division within families. And that's, to me, that's amazing, because if you say that these laws were only brought up by Moses in the beginning, well, we can see that throughout ever since the beginning from Adam, we can see that these laws were always in effect. Maybe people didn't know them to sort of state them, but they were always in effect. It was the law was always there. So God is consistent. He never was anything else. It was not like earlier on there was some of these things weren't sin, and then he added on so that you could sort of, right, like we do now with the laws that we have now. Oh, well, it doesn't suit us. We just bring them about and make another law. No, this was established before the beginning of creation. So, love thy neighbors as you love yourself, and thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart and all with thy soul and all thy mind. And that's basically from the ground up towards heaven, right? This is love your neighbors, and that is, top to the heavens is love your God. That's why the cross is so important. That's why it's such an amazing symbol. And the beautiful thing is, you find Jesus in the middle, right? You find him right in the middle of the cross with the Sabbath, meaning rest. That's why it's important to keep the Sabbath, right? Keeping the Sabbath means basically to hold God, Jesus, in your mind, that he is there up on the cross between these laws. That's what we need to look upon. We need to look upon these and see what it does if you don't hold to these laws. So what does it mean to be blessed by God? Right? It says in Matthew 3, from the Sermon on the Mount, he says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye, when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you." So, a small recap for what I said with all the divisions. So sin leads to death, fall of man, Cain and Abel. Saved by the water flood, by the grace of God, finding rest, Jesus. Noah was saved by the grace of God. Noah against the world. The cursed will serve the blessed. The blessed. Shem and Ham, blessed are those that honor the Father God and get the promised land. Don't go after other gods and make idols to false gods. Be obedient to God and follow him in faith. That's with Terah and Abraham. And then we go with Lot and Abraham. Don't follow the world in riches. Don't be a slave to this world. Be free from sin, the carnal. Don't mock the one born free. Reborn free or born free, you will be an heir and co-ruler with Isaac and Ishmael. Don't despise, I say it here again, but don't despise your birthright, but honor it. The gifts that given your life, you will get from God. Your blessing will be stolen from you if you despise your birthright. Envy, pride will lead to death. You will be exposed, convicted. The righteous, the one that is honest, will be hidden, separated, will be blessed, and made co-ruler. And then I want to end with the scripture. Jesus brings division, like in Luke 12. Suppose ye that I am come to give peace on earth? I tell you, nay, but rather division. Far from henceforth there shall be 5 in one house divided, 3 against 2, and 2 against 3. The father shall be divided against the son, and the son against the father, the mother against the daughter, and the daughter against the mother, the mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. So yeah, and we see that now again. So this is the end of part 1. Are you there, John?
Yes, I am.
Oh, good. What do you think?
It was very
so
well.
far?
It's very. You're getting really good at presenting.
No, I'm not. I'm stumbling sometimes over words.
No. The presentations are really good. I like them. You keep my interest through them all. I'm wondering what's coming next and where you're going to connect them. And speaking of what's coming next, the Adam Meekin with a super chat. He's got a question. What's the question? We had to talk about Rachel.
He still is on Reuben and the Mandrakes, I think.
Oh, Reuben and the Mandrakes. That's right. Yeah. And Rachel, he's hung up there. I can understand that to a point. The
thing is that we had a talk about that, about Reuben and Rachel. Reuben came with the Mandrakes. Rachel saw Reuben with the Mandrakes. She wanted them. And she sort of talked to Leah. Well, okay, give me Reuben's mandrakes so that I can, whatever, right? I don't know what she wanted to do with that, but there is a sort of a sexual thing described to these roots, right? These mandrake roots. Did Rachel need them to sort of make a sort of a potion so that she could conceive? Reuben was one that brought the mandrakes. Did she want that? That was what Adam put me on to this. Was Reuben was she interested in Reuben for getting some offspring of Reuben, right? Because Reuben was a young lad already, I think. Because I think that Rachel got kids very late in life. But that could sort of catch you in so many tangles and things. So yeah, we were talking about that. It's sometimes interesting to just investigate and see where it leads to and what comes up. There is something with it, but it's not written in the Bible. It's just sort of concealed yet.
Oh, he said that Paula addressed it in chat. So yeah, I can't look at chat, Adam. So you probably you probably put that in there early, right? I haven't looked back until now, so.
Yeah, it's difficult to go back, right, in these chats to see what was meant.
I could probably remove this chat somehow. I haven't tried that before.
Can't you scroll in it? Scroll up?
Yeah, I can, but I'm thinking about removing it. 1 second. Pop out chat. Let's try it for now. Let's see what it...
Yeah, I think you can move it then around.
Yeah, I could do it. Yeah, maybe I'll do that for next time, and so I can look at the chat. Maybe we'll see.
Yeah, it's also distracting sometimes.
Yeah, I was just thinking that when I pulled it out.
Yeah, well, it could be, and the super chat you still can see, right? In a different way, I think.
Yeah, let me get rid of this. Does it get rid of the whole thing, or does it put it back? Oh, it puts it back. Okay. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. I've done that once, and then I couldn't get rid of it then.
Yeah, you can just exit it out. Yeah, now we're in the back.
Oh, okay, good.
Now we're into back office business. We don't need to go there. Okay, like I said, it was a great presentation. Make sure you put the phrase and word studies on the list.
But the thing is, I have to work too. You know, this is hard work to get it in time and not miss out on things. You know, there's so much to be said. I just touched on things today, right? But it's a whole different study on its own, right? If you go through the study of Cain and Abel, for example, you could be there for a couple of presentations, I suppose, and still miss things. And it's with every other of these divisions that we see, right, in these families. It gets narrower and narrower, right? It's like it gets so narrow that it's only Jacob, and then he gets his 12 sons, and then it sort of starts again, but then with tribes, right? You get the same sort of divisions within the tribes happening, and that's about the next presentation that I want to do. See what happens then.
Okay, but keep the phrase. But wait a second, calm down. But keep the phrases and the word study, because they're going to be really good. And I know it takes a lot of work. It just sounds like whining to me.
Why? Yeah, you just want to sort of have me go over there, huh?
I would like to have you. I'll give you the phrases and the words. You do all the backup research and then connect them all, and then we'll move on to the next phrase and word.
Can't I just pick and choose myself?
You can.
Okay. Well, why don't you make a list that you'd like to go over, and we'll see. Because I want to know what you sort of like.
Okay, the wells is. Let's do the three that we talked about just to start off the bat. So we got the wells. We can do the 3 days, which is very interesting, and all the tills.
But that's more like a Chuck Missler sort of approach that he had, right, on that.
I don't think so. People do word and phrase studies, although I don't think it was just pertaining to Chuck, no. I think
I know that he did.
Possibly. It's not striking me just yet, but I heard that long before Chuck.
Okay. Well, I think that I'm very interested on the wells, to do the wells word study. I like the staff and the scepter.
Scepter, I know you like the scepter.
Rod and staff. It's basically the rod and staff. I really like the trees, right? You have these different trees, the olive tree, you have the fig tree. And all these trees, the cedars.
There's some gold in Genesis with that. I've run across that before. But it's just something
beautiful.
Go ahead.
How about barley and wheat? That's also barley, wheat, and wine, right? Those seeds are very amazing because they appear to pop up everywhere too throughout the whole Bible.
Yeah. Carol Apple said that she loves Chuck. I agree. Chuck Missler did outstanding work. Now, I'm not saying everything he said was right. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is Chuck, put it to you this way. For me, Chuck flattened the curve because it was a steep learning curve, right? But he flattened that thing and he bashed it into a friggin' pancake. So that's what he did for me, just personally.
Because he gets into very detailed things, right? He's also in the meaning of the words, right?
Yeah.
In the middle of that, and he sort of keeps very meticulous sort of listing on how it's written and where it's written and how many times it's written. And
yeah, he does do that. Yeah, it'll drive you nuts.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
There's many more than Chuck, but Chuck, like I said, really flattened that curve for me. It was a blessing to me. So.
Sure. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, was he the one of the first ones that you listened to? Or
no. Chuck came along later, much later.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry, he didn't come along. He was already there. I just didn't know of him.
Wait, who did you go to first?
Just me reading.
What?
Just me reading. That was a big bulk of the first.
Sure.
But I didn't have I didn't have the skills. Right, I made many mistakes, and I'm sure that when we first started in on it, I don't have to go into the mistakes that we made. I started reading like a novel. I kind of figured relatively quickly that's not the way to do it. But sometimes we're slow, and we.
Well, I think you have to start somewhere, right? So you start usually with the beginning. I started at the end.
Sure.
Sort of.
Sure.
I started with Acts. Acts was, for me, Acts was such an epiphany, because I wanted to know why, after Jesus died, what happened? What happened with what he did and what he said, and why did it move into a whole religion? Because if it's just, we have guys that we have idols that we have in our movie theaters and around us, right? That you look up to some people that you think, okay, those are great, but they don't start religions, right? Not many of them, at least, and not as big, as huge, and as wide encompassed as the whole religion of Christianity.
Christianity is not a religion.
I know. I wanted to say that already. That with the word religion, just the name Christianity, right? It's a way of life, and then I noticed in Acts that it is a way of life. It is a way of doing things. It is. These apostles, they didn't have a home. They traveled. They traveled the whole world, as far as they could, right, on foot, to bring the gospel. Why? Why was it so compelling to them? And when I read that piece that is called Acts, and I thought, oh yeah. And why is it called Acts, right? Because you have to act upon what you know now. When you are sort of a Christian, you have to act upon that, and you have to show your light, not put it on your bed, on a bushel, whatever. You need to show your light, and that's what did it for me. And then I wanted to know the end events, and I usually start at the end of a book, by the way.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I'd say a lot of people have said to start with the Revelation. This is just my personal opinion, that would be a mistake, because for you to understand, and people like to go to the book of Revelation because they want, just like you said, you want to get the bottom line, right? I understand that. I got that. But if you're going to do that, or you're going to tell somebody to do that, just be aware that they're going to be lost. Because if you don't know the Old Testament, then you'll be absolutely clueless in Revelation, because there's over, I think it's 800 or 900 allusions to to the Old Testament. So all the metaphors, all the rhetorical devices are back in the Old Testament. They're back there. So once you master the Old Testament, when I say master, it's in degrees. But when you start reading Revelation, you'll say, oh, where did I run into that? I've heard that before. Let me go back. That's why I said those word studies, because that helps you with part of that genre, right? To not get off topic.
Exactly. You're totally correct, because there's so much symbolism in there, and so much
idioms
of the old sort of customs too. You know.
And they're idioms. See, the idioms cross-reference. That's the key. You can. He did that for a reason, I think. Right?
Yeah, and that means that what I said previously is that God is always the same, right? He's not changing. We are changing.
Yep.
Right? And people that say, well, the Bible is an old book and it needs to be revised. Ooh, woe to you, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got it. You should put those couple verses in there about changing it. What are the penalties?
Yeah. Yeah, well, pretty severe, I think, because God has always been the same, right? In the beginning, now, and in the future, and we need to know his character, right? So that's why I first started with Israel, with the words, the names, and that being an identity, a character, and what's where and how and who. And if you go through these divisions, you can see God's character, right? You can see what his character is like. He doesn't like this. He doesn't want you to do that. He wants you to be like this, right? I mean, he wants you to be obedient, right? If you say to Abraham, well, get thee out of the land, you better go. Right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But how many people might he have sort of gone to and didn't rise to that occasion, and only Abraham was the one that rose to the occasion? Have you ever considered that he was the only one that maybe complied to what God was saying? So you have to be also on the lookout. What is God telling me to do, and at what point, and at what time, right? God is showing his character all through Scripture, from the beginning to the end. And I mean, like, for example, with Sodom and Gomorrah, that was before the law was given, right? The law was given by Moses to the Israelites. But Sodom and Gomorrah, they were basically, because of the sin they committed, they were destroyed. Even before the law was laid down in stone, right? It was not yet in stone, but it was there. It was already in place. How could God, if things weren't known by these people, punish them, right? So there had to be a knowledge about the law, and they still didn't comply. Right? These people were wicked, and these men from Ham, these offspring from Ham, they were cursed, basically, and these people lived there. There might have even have been giants there, I think, because I think that they sort of had some giants in their offspring. So it's interesting.
Hey, what's up, Tony Wickham? What's up, Tony? He said hi. Boy, he went for everyone. QE, Betty, Adam Meakin, Amanalikemi, Paula, and the Most High, and Carol Apple. Who's Carol Apple? That's the second time I've seen that name. Who is that? He likes Chuck Missler. That's one thing I know. That's the first time I've seen that, whether it be a he or a she. So I may be.
Carol Apple, that's a painter.
I might. Is it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Carol Apple is a very famous Dutch painter. He makes these. He had made a picture of an apple, I think, and he says, "This is not an apple."
Like, put your hand in front of your face. Is that your hand? Yes. No, it's not.
Yeah, well, the thing is that he is correct in a literal sense because it's just a painting of an apple.
Oh, brother. Time to be pedantic.
Well, if you can be, then others can too.
Others say time to be semantic. No, that's being pedantic. Pedantic's not semantic.
Oh, well, it's just a one-letter word different.
Yeah, just remove. Yeah, it sounds the same. That must be, it is the same, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
sloppy intellectual laziness.
Are you accusing me of that?
No.
Oh, phew. I'm glad.
Yeah. I'd be all over you like a duck on a June bug.
What?
Never mind.
Like a duck.
Like a duck on a June bug. Yeah, it's a saying. Ducks like June bugs.
Okay. Well, if you say so.
It's an American thing, all right? You don't have any ducks in the Netherlands, do you?
Yes, we do. Unbelievable. We also have dogs that catch them, and we call them koiker.
Do you have any Mexican naked dogs?
The powder puff, you mean? No, those are Mexican, John. It says in the name. Uh-huh.
All right, we've been going for...
In your past?
What?
Did you have any dogs in the past?
Yes, this is going to be a long conversation, I can see.
I want to know what kind of dog you had.
Cocker Spaniel was my first dog. We won't get into that because I will... It's not a good thing. In fact, they all ended tragically, which I don't like at all. But I understand it. The first dog, Cocker Spaniel. The second one was Beagle. That was for many years.
Okay. Hunting dog, huh?
Yes.
Nose.
Yeah. Great dog. Love the dog.
These guys, but they go after the nose very, very quickly.
Great.
Gone.
Great family dog, though.
Yeah, but
he can understand English as soon as you said bunny, or he's seen the my brother put on his hunting gear or go close to where his hunting gear was. That dog would go crazy.
Yeah.
And he
well, that's their job.
Like I said, he understood English because you said bunny. Look out.
Would he retrieve it, or would he?
He would start going crazy in the house, running back and forth between rooms. So he could speak English. I don't know what's bunny in the Netherlands. Hassenpfeffer.
Well, Hazen is a hare, right?
Yeah, right.
So that's not, but that's German, by the way.
Okay.
But we call them konijnen.
Oh, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, that's what you thought, huh?
I don't think he would have done anything if you would have said Cornanen.
I bet that he wouldn't have done anything.
Yeah, this is going down the tubes real quick. Okay. Final thoughts on this, and then we'll go ahead and wrap up. We've been going for an hour and 40 minutes.
After this?
No, right now, and especially after I said snappy. This is the opposite of snappy.
Oh, yeah, well, it's fun, right?
This Carol Apple said Konijn.
Yeah, konijn.
Yeah, he or she must be from Dutchland.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Well, hence the name. I mean, not everybody knows Carol Apple.
Ah, only the Netherlands. Dutch.
No, he's quite famous, but I think that not many people are aware of it. Yeah.
Oh, Tony just sent a super chat. I can't wait to read his. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. I just watched the film Contact. Oh, Contact with Jodie Foster. Yeah. I've seen that. I like that movie. And it was it was written. I didn't know that he wrote that. Let me say it again. I'm interrupting the whole thing. I just watched the film Contact with Jodie Foster, and it was written by Carl Sagan, and it's a carbon copy of Werner von Braun, Psalm 19:1. Really? Huh.
What does he mean by that?
I don't know. I like the movie, but I haven't seen it in some years. So I'm trying to think back.
Is that with that device that they make and that she drops through a sort of circles, like a sort of giant gyroscope?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and then she gets some sort of an experience and a sort of timelessness in the middle of it.
Yeah.
But it is, she just goes through like a flash.
Yes, a flash. It seemed like a flash to her, but it was like so many minutes to the other people. Yeah. I liked it. I like Jodie Foster. So, but it has that alien tilt to it. I didn't know that it was written by Carl Sagan, though. That I didn't know.
Not me neither.
Yeah.
But what did he mean by the sound Brown from Brown?
I don't know. I would have to talk to him about that. I don't know.
Because the Psalm and Werner von Braun with Psalm 91, right? It's on his tombstone. But,
right.
What is the carbon copy then? What does he mean?
Don't know. Why don't you read it?
He's so script. Yeah, but he's sort of like cryptic.
Oh, like, Tony's crypt. Yeah. He'll make you think sometimes with his post. Let's go read Psalm 19:1. Let me snatch it. I was going to round out, but I guess I'll.
Is it a long one?
Psalms 19:1? I don't think it's all that long.
Yeah, that's a one verse, but Psalm 19 is longer.
Well, we can read it. We can read it up on the statue of the right.
So it's something with the handiwork of God.
We can read Psalm 1, and we'll go through. It's Psalm 19:1. Sorry. Oh, I'm here. So, Psalm 19, to the chief musician, a psalm of David. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. Day unto day uttereth speech, and night unto night showeth knowledge. There is no speech nor language where their voice is not heard. Their line is gone out through all the earth, and their words to the end of the world. In them hath he set a tabernacle for the sun, which is as a bridegroom coming out of his chamber, and rejoiceth as the strong man to run a race. His going forth is from the end of the heaven, and his circuit unto the ends of it, and there is nothing hid from the heat thereof. The law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul. The testimony of the Lord is sure, making wise the simple. The statutes of the Lord are right, rejoicing the heart. The commandment of the Lord is pure, enlightening the eyes. The fear of the Lord is clean, enduring forever. The judgments of the Lord are true and righteous altogether. More to be desired are they than gold, yea, than much fine gold, sweeter also than honey and the honeycomb. Moreover, by them is thy servant warned, and in keeping of them there is great reward. Who can understand his errors? Cleanse thou me from my secret faults. Keep back thy servant also from presumptuous sins. Let them not have dominion over me. Then I shall be upright, and then I shall be innocent from the great transgression. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in thy sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. End of citation.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. I like it.
He put another super chat in
oh, did he? He can't do that while I'm reading.
He did it close to the end.
Okay. All right, Tony. Like you said, you never know what you're going to get. Nazi is controlling space. A quote from Contact. Really? Huh. I'm going to have to go back and probably watch that again. Like I said, it's been many years.
Netflix.
I don't know if Netflix cares. I'll check it this evening. I don't think it carries it.
Yeah. Well, they come up with these olden movies again sometimes and put them back in.
Yeah, they do. They do. That's right. Yeah. All right, boy, that was a load of fun. Sorry to hear that, QE. Sorry to hear what? Sorry to hear that, QE. From Free Mind. Did I say something that needed empathy?
Do you say anything that sort of invokes empathy?
I try not to. Giving reference The so-called animals are a great life. I guess he's not our great life. Oh, you're talking about from the pets. Yeah, we don't want to get into that, and it'll make me really sad. So I don't want to do that. Now, Betty has some of those same failings. I think we all do. I swore at some point, this is all stupid. That I don't know if it's stupid, but it's a self-defense mechanism that I held off from getting pets for many years because of the hurt of losing them.
Yeah.
I know that sounds crazy, but that's how I felt about it. And I did. I stayed away for many years. Now I got this knucklehead cat. It's always bothering me. But I love. Yeah.
Well, he likes you somehow, right? He's always in your vicinity.
It's like you said that kind of shockingly.
Yeah, I do because, well, sometimes you're like, get the hell out of here, you silly cat, right? That sort of thing, and you're the one that sort of takes care of it most of the time. So then, I think that usually animals, when you feed them, they despise you because you give them their feed.
That don't make no damn sense.
Yeah, well, you give away your food in animal world. That is like a no-no, right?
You're saying my cat loses respect for me because I feed him?
Yes, that could be the case.
Are you off your medication?
I've heard some of these especially with dogs too. I mean, the alpha dog is eating first, right? And if you give away your food, you basically give up.
I don't see how he lacks respect.
You give away your birthright, man.
I didn't give away my birthright. As soon as I raise my voice just a little bit, that cat's gone.
Yeah, but that's scaredy cat, right?
Yeah, because he's a scaredy cat, scaredy fraidy cat.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I love him. He's really cool. He just bothers me at inopportune times all the time.
You raise your voice in the chats on this live stream to ballers, and nobody comes in. So it's the same thing.
So you're saying that's unattractive?
Yeah, basically.
I guess I can live with that.
I thought that you would.
Yeah, we don't want to get into that discussion either. Okay, let's wrap it up because I need to take care of a couple things after an hour and 48 minutes now.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I did make it as snappy as I could.
I know you did. Like I said, it was outstanding presentation. I look forward to these each week.
You do?
I do. I do, because I haven't been studying the Bible that voraciously over the past 8 months or so. So I like to go ahead and get back into it. I like the presentation. I think you do a really good job. And like I said from the beginning, you have it's a soothing voice. I like to listen to you talk about it. Now, even though that you might be wrong, no, you haven't been. It's not like you said. You're not here to teach. You're just bringing these topics up and having people think for themselves. I think that's the way it should be done. And unless you're not you, but the royal you is, a studied master. You know what I'm saying? Or put all the work in, and it's easy to tell those things. But it's really good. I enjoy it. I enjoy hosting it, and I will continue.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's a difference between being a study of a thing, right, and feeling through a thing, right?
Yes.
It's that spiritual thing, or it's the carnal thing. You can read a book in and out and be done with it, lay it down and say, okay, I know this book, it's done. But to really sort of crawl into characters, words, understandings, what does it mean, and to outlive that word, the scripture, right? To mm-hmm. incorporate it, to eat it up, basically, and also bear witness to it to others. That's the true thing. You can be a master and know every Hebrew word, right? But you can But the truth is, it is a lifestyle. It is a thing that needs to saturate you, and when they squeeze you, right? The Bible needs to come out in a way of how you live, right? That's basically what needs to be done.
Oh, now you're preaching to me. Tony Wickham, he gave us the answer. Carl Sagan and von Braun both talked about space and the creator in the same breath. That was his point. Love you all. Okay. Okay, I see I thought you were going to say something profound, but I got you. Okay. I got it. Thanks, Tony, for the super chats. Appreciate that.
It is sort of profound, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in a sense. If you think about it that way, I didn't think about it that way. That's why it's good to have other people. They look at things a bit differently.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you can round out now.
Yeah, let's wrap it up. Let me find you and make sure that you're going to be muted. I do like. There's some kind of. I don't. It's like a rewarding to mute you for some reason. I don't know why.
I know.
Listen up for, like I said, on Tuesday we got BALLBUSTERS on Saturday at 2 p.m. U.S. Central and 7 p.m. UK. That will change the next week or the next couple weeks. We're going to be talking about nature, the nature of science, and the scientific method again. I don't know what I'm going to do Tuesday. Maybe another flat earth proof again. I think I'm just going to rotate those flat earth proofs on Tuesdays and keep going. Just keep rolling on with them. We'll see how it goes. I haven't made up my mind. So thanks, guys, for coming. I'm sure, Betty, any last words real quick?
No, I thank the audience for listening, and I hope that they will bring other people in to listen to this as well. And see them next time.
Thanks, Betty. Like I said, it was a great presentation. I just muted you, and I'll tell you, it really feels good. Also, that next Tuesday show, and I'll announce it. Betty, don't let me forget, even though you're muted. I see your level bouncing up and down, by the way. Don't let me forget that Tuesday's live show, QE's, my live show on Tuesday is, I might have to make that a little bit early. I have an appointment that I can't miss later that afternoon. So let me think about that, and I'll bring it back up Saturday. So, hey, guys, thanks a lot for coming. We'll be back. We should be back next Thursday with Betty's next presentation. Like I said, hope you guys enjoyed it. I surely did. Hang in there. Out.